Gonna say though, I mean, these Venge plays in the past 3 roll, they don't seem to like buying items that you have to actively use because, when you die, you can't use them, which is a bit unfortunate, I'd say. I mean, again, imperfect heroes. I think Ice Frog, if he wanted to quickly just kind of round it off, just let the Venge use the items, and then you'd have perfect balance for the Vengeful Spirit.
Oh god.
AG,
Yeah, that would be. That
be
feels
perfect.
like it would be much.
No, it'd be
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
The word you're looking for was perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd love to see it. We'll see if the Frog does get a patch before TI, breaking more heroes. I would love to see that to really spice it up. Still, bans continue. AG, they take out the Life Stealer. Naturally, spell resistant hero would kind of break the combination of the Murano Kunkka with the X Mark Arrow, and it's just overall very hard to kill off. I think when you've got the Alchemist around as well to maybe feed it Ags, that would have been pretty fun. I love Life Stealer Ags. It doesn't get picked up enough. It's hilarious thing to see running around, so not going to see it. They also ban out the Bat Rider, which is a natural TA counter. SMG, they do take the Void Spirit instead, so they don't opt for going all in this minus armor strat. On mid lane, they do get something highly mobile on Moon. The X combination still works out here, but the Void Spirit does have a lot of spells he can play with to break that off. So it's not like it's all doom and gloom here for Moon. He's got the step, he's got the Simulate to still dodge the combination if he's quick enough. So AG's got to be on point with their execution to catch out Moon's hero.
Okay. It's a bit of a shame AG banned out the Bat Rider themselves, I guess, considering it would have done very well against the Void Spirit. Still, Sven Sansa is going to be the next 2 heroes seen from AG. Been seeing a lot of these two popping up recently. Should be a position 5 silencer, I assume, and of course the carry Sven, not too surprising. SMG, I mean, I suppose it does give AG a way of kind of getting that bonus armor up to not be too affected by this Venge Alk offlane. I still think regardless of having Warcry, it's still going to be extremely devastating to play against. Perhaps maybe with the Sven just tanky enough.
Yeah, it does make it a bit slower for SMG. I think what we need to see from the silencer on AG's part this time is an emphasis on the Arcane Curse. Last time around, we saw SMG actually run the Venge Alk versus a silencer lane, and we saw the silencer go for Glaives. The Glaives just don't do enough to dissuade the Alk and Venge from spamming their spells, so you will want that stronger presence from the silencer. Just go for the QE build, as we've seen. It is the more effective build nowadays. SMG, they go into the Undying. So it still plays with this very fast tempo coming out, really good against strength heroes. You've got 2 to kind of sap away there, Kunkka and Sven. Once you take away some of that strength, their damage goes down, HP shoots down, and the Undying does play very fast. So it does line up with how SMG's been playing the past few days. Although I guess the Silencer still counteracts it, but you're likely not going to see the Undying lane against the Silencer anyway. It's more than likely going to have to handle the off-lane matchup of SMG. So we'll see what else AG pulls out to kind of deal with that. We are still looking for likely our Wami hero to tie it out, unless Wami plays the offlane silencer, but it just doesn't feel like a Wami hero. But we'll see, as we have seen that hero kind of flex around nowadays.
Well, Army Genius's final pickup now. We'll see what Wami is getting for that offlane. The Kunkka vs Void Spirit matchup, I mean, it should be just fine for the Kunkka. Definitely decide you could just kind of go something else for Wami in that offlane if you so wish. Can be slightly difficult though, not knowing what the position 1 is of SMG, and if you kind of assume you're going to be against this position 3 rather the position 5 Undying, can be pretty hard to actually choose an offlane that will actually be able to do some work. Okay, so offlane Kunkka, it seems, maybe mid-Ember is what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's a good shakeup. I think you do get to keep that X combination, so Kunkka Mirana lane is still very strong. X arrows in play now. Once you get maybe level 2, level 3, you can really start to play aggressive there on the side of AG. Apply that pressure onto mid 1's hero. Mid 1's pool is fairly limited. I feel like the Life Stealer would have really worked out in this lineup just because they've got such great frontliners. Punishes the Sven well. You could go for maybe something like the Jug. or something that can kind of play with the Alchemist Ag's timing. You do want a big core that can maximize that utility on the Alch, unless you just feed it to the Void Spirit, which is still a strong choice. Having Moon with Ags up by 15 to 12 to 15 minutes is always good, and you can focus on getting the Ewelts instead for self-setup and sort of to break off the silence from our silencer. It's fairly open. Let's see, SMG, they do close out with a Troll. All right. Not something we see too often. Keen to see how much mid one gets. This is a not necessarily a slower hero. The last time we saw Troll, it was like an SNY or Diffusal build. So you do come online quick, you run fast. I think in this case, maybe a Diffusal BKB build sounds good, or a SNY BKB. You do need a BKB for protection because of that global silence. Beyond that, you can just kind of run down. It does scale nicely. Up against a Sven, very even in terms of scaling for both heroes. So you do have sort of strong foundations as win conditions here. And I think AG this time around have a draft that plays faster. So they don't need to sit back as much. The Sven will need a lot of farm to really hit online, but once you have a Mask of Madness, that doesn't take too long. So I think AG kind of lined themselves up for a much more even game this time around.
Yeah, my problem with this Troll pickup is, like, what's it really going to do in this game? Because it feels like there's plenty of kiting potential from Army Geniuses. It really does feel like you could just kite out the Troll over and over again. I mean, you've got KP there with the swap. I suppose you do have the setup and you do have ways of holding people down. We'll wait and see. I won't judge the Troll too early on. We haven't seen it much in this new patch, so... Yeah, from what I can understand, it is quite weak at the moment, but I suppose he was limited in his position 1 options right now in this game number 2. So just kind of had to go for something. So I'll ask you the hard question, John. You seem to believe both teams are quite even, but I need to know which one's better. So which draft did come out on top?
I'd lean towards SMG still. I think the Venge combination with Alchemist is still painful. They've got this Undying to help sustain their early fights on top of that. And if Tinks goes south, you could just depend on the Troll to kind of carry you through. The Ags upgrade on the Troll, I'm not sure if you're going to prioritize that. The Dispels are still strong, so you could just give Midwin that utility on his spells. It feels like it's higher impact to pass the Ags onto Moon this game for Afu, so we'll see who they do prioritize for the Ag spike by the 12 to 15 minute mark, depending on the game. I think for AG, what we need to see them do is really play aggressive. Their lanes on paper are fairly strong. You've got this Bully of a support on UK Silencer. You've got the X Arrow combination with Wami and LYM's Marana Kunkka. So you need to use those, use that spell use that early spike you have on hand to bully out SMG to stop that snowball effect from kicking off by the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know, I was kind of even leaning towards the draft of AG this game myself. I mean, I know you never want to ask me, John, but thought I'd kind of just chime in and let you know. There you go, we're a bit split today. Very, very good.
Yeah, provide some variety in life. You know, you can't have us agreeing all the time.
Oh, we
don't.
don't.
I disagree with your initials.
Please, don't imply that we agree ever, John. We really don't. Just people don't get to see it on stream. Bot rune spot. Fu, he could be in a spot of danger. Arrow is up on LYM, so all they need is the setup. LYM, he might just go for the blind setup himself, but no, Stormhammer is there. Arrow is going to fly through, but the timing just wasn't right. So KP going to have a laugh as he walks out. And I believe we might even see a 3-for-1 as Rogi is going to be able to get the other bounty rune. So a 3-for-1 trade. Great little start there from SMG. Thing is, you are going to have to spend a bit of regen here onto KP, but he won't mind too much. He'll be just fine with it.
Yeah, and we're seeing the lanes break out, of course. Same lane as last time for SMG. KP and Afu on the Venge. Alk, they will have to contend with a Silencer support, and that Arcane Curse will start to pile up. Level 2, Level 3 spikes here for Army Geniuses is going to be painful for for SMG, as the damage output of UK, once the value point in Last Word is up, it will just tick you down. Sure, initially, you've still got the Acid Spray combination coming through. It shoves the wave out. But DB can get tanky with a value point in the Warcry, as you pointed out in draft. So there are tools here for AG to mitigate this lane and start to get a little bit more compared to Game 1 here.
Absolutely. Of course, over in the mid lane, you've got Moon there with Mamang Daya. Again, the Void Spirit Ember. Actually, hold that thought, because bot lane, they are making the jump in onto DB. It's like both Afu and DB will be able to survive. This bot lane is getting quite spicy, so we'll try and make our way back over very soon. Mid lane though, Moon versus Mamang Daya. The Void Spirit Ember hard to know who it really favors, as both heroes kind of enjoy going against each other. Seems like Moon is having a slightly better time right now in the harass department. But other than that, it does appear to be a very close kind of matchup.
Yeah, I think where this matchup really starts to split up is level 5 and 6. Level 6, obviously, with Remnants and the step difference. But I think level 5 is when the spell differences start coming out. So the magic block from the Flame Guard versus the physical block of the Resonant Pulse can start to be leveraged against each other. I think as the game scales on, Ember does feel like he has slightly earlier timings if you do go for that phase boot or corrosion sort of build up. You know, take early activity, even a Maelstrom feels fast. Whereas for a Void Spirit, without something like the Yults or Kaya or Ags coming through, your combinations, they can line up with a right setup, but it does feel like you're more prone to having to meet these item timings on that hero.
And of course, the last lane. Top lane, you've got Wami there on the Kunkka with LYM on that Mirana. Roger going to be around on the Undying, of course, and you do also have mid one on that Troll, and he is top of the CS board right now, mid one. So having a great old time. No real struggles yet for SMG in this top lane. Looking back down to the bot lane for a second, it looks like there was another dive attempt happening. And as I look away, Rochi ends up dropping. So there you go. Apparently the struggles are here. Wami does get the kill on the Kunkka. And I apologize to Rogi for jinxing him on that one.
Yeah, they did manage to get it with a nice bait play. They did lose their courier for that, as Wami kind of drew the courier out to attract Raji into it like a moth to the flame. It does pay off. I don't think Raji minds too much. He was low on mana. It's one thing with Undying as support. You do want to empty your mana pool, sort of like a bristleback in your initial level. Just spam your spells. Once you're out, you kind of need to die. So it feels like Raji's done a good enough job. You're still building up in mid one. And as long as your troll hits these initial farm timings, you're pretty alright. Again, I'm still keen to see what mid one wants to do here in terms of item build-up, as it's very varied for the troll, although down bot.
Yeah, they're going to make the jump in onto Arfu. Magic Missile there to try and help out, but they still get the kill. UK the one to take it. KP. And this dual lane of SMG this game around, not looking quite as strong. It does seem like AG kind of have their number in this spot lane now and have figured out this minus armor strat from SMG. Top lane, bit of a jump here onto Wami. Soul Rip is out, but the stick charges were there to make sure that the Kunkka Wami does remain alive. LYM does salve him up on the Mirana just to make sure he does remain in the lane. So both off lanes kind of struggling right now on both sides.
Yeah, I'd say it's a lot better to look at it in comparison to safe laners, although Foreign, Arrow.
Yeah, Rogi, Soul Rip is there. He'll heal himself up. LYM can't have anything to kind of follow up there on the Undying, but get a bit more harassment out into mid one. And they are really doing a great job of focusing down Rogi, who turns back around onto LYM. But now Torrent is going to fly through and does connect. A very nice one at that. LYM landing the arrow, and that'll be the secondary kill onto Rogi.
That's big. You're starting to build up on that off lane for the Kunkka. Sure, you're not getting as much last hits, but the kills are giving you EXP, are giving you some sources of gold. They're not quite stopping mid one's farm. So in terms of looking at the safe laners comparison, it is still better for mid one. You have to consider that DB is also forced to go for this Warcry build to save himself from the combination that SMG is just applying constantly bot. Sure, it's keeping him safe in lane. This will hurt his flash farm. Without the Great Cleave maximized, your level 6 farm spike is still strong once you pop the God Strength, but not as strong as it would be if you maxed out the Cleave.
Arthur gonna move in, but Stormhammer is there. DB gonna be there to protect UK. More help coming though, Rogi. He's showing up at the bot lane on the Undying. It's a deep ward out. I don't believe they've spotted him quite yet. He's going to try and move in with the Soul Rip, I believe. And with the Magic Missile, it's going to be a nice, easy setup there for Rogi. In fact, he didn't even need the Soul Rip. Just goes straight for that level 2 decay. Does end up working out.
Yeah, and I think this is what SMG needs to do. Because they see that the Sven doesn't have a cleave. If they just keep bullying him in lane, make this Warcry build not pay off, then you're shutting him down in the laning phase anyway, despite the armor build. And the flash farm is just not going to come out. It's just not going to feel that good for DB without that spell.
Oh, Moon, getting aggressive here in this mid lane. He was looking like the one being hunted, but now he's the hunter. Bot lane, however, UK, he does get hunted down. DB trying to get KB back, but the chains, and oh, they do actually land. I thought they may have gone onto the creeps, but that was not the case. Army Genius is able to secure the pos 3 of SMG. So 1 for 1 in the end, but certainly favorable the way of Army Geniuses.
And they are getting that early aggression off now. They're responding well to what SMG's trying to do. And they try to force the tri-lane to get these early kills. Still rotation mid.
Nice rotation from Arfu. Does at least secure LYM there for Moon. And, Moon, he's had a great time in this mid lane. Hasn't died once, got plenty of CS, and well, now he's got a kill under his belt. So I'm sure he's feeling very happy.
Yeah, it's building up. It's a bit of a slower start for the Void Spirit. He hasn't managed to get a sideline rotation, but just getting the kill does line you up. I am still keen to see if Afu prioritizes the Ags here for Moon or if he prioritizes it for mid one. I think that's a big spike that needs to be spread out between these two cores. Who gets the Ags priority, and it might be more impactful on Moon than mid one. Woo.
Love that little Tidebringer play into the Starfall, but it just wasn't enough. Level 1 Starfall just doesn't do so much damage. LYM, I suppose he could have tried for a blind arrow, but a mid one has already left the building. Does go back towards the fountain and is going to remain just fine, as now Moon does jump in onto Wami. Moon is alone here. This is a very kind of risky play, as the arrow is going to land with the X, but they aren't going to have the damage to kind of turn around and try to secure Moon's life either. So he's just very confident in his ability to be able to survive. He does make his way back over to the mid lane now. So just kind of all over the map right now for Moon.
Yeah, I think he understands he needs to apply some pressure because they've got a slower pause 1 with a troll. Mid 1 is rushing a Desolator build though, so it looks like the same philosophy with his Monkey King the other day. He is going to try to play this quick, and they are making moves down bot.
Yeah, DB going to be targeted. Tombstone will be dropped there by Roger. Moon going to make his way over, but they have the Ember around as well, and DB, he's dropping low, but is still alive. Moon still trying with the actual step, but the armor is way too high. DB is going to run as now Mamang Daya. He's the one being focused down on the Ember, but he will avoid the bone incoming. Or rather, Roger will go down to it as mid one is going to have to back. They do end up getting DB in the end, but Moon will drop on the Void Spirit, and now Mamang Daya, who'll try to chase for a bit more on this Ember, but mid one is going to try and force another team fight. They'll get KP down, but they're going to lose Mamang Daya now. Mid one, how much further can you go, sir? He still has the battle trance, but arrow is going to land. He'll be forced to pop it now. LYM just going to back off, and they've got the X there as well. So mid one, he'll have to go on to Wami instead. Wami, though, going to remain nice and healthy. Everyone is kind of running low on mana. DB, he's going to TP back down to the bot lane of the pos 1 Sven. But SMG, they're going to leave the building. Or are they? Respawns up. They're TPing back in now as well. KP with the bottle charges. Kind of resets everyone as Arfu's going to move in. Back in onto DB. He just respawned and TP'd in, but he might be going right back to the Shadow Realm. He's going to try and go into the tree line, and he might just be fine, but Roger, the man, is going to run right through the tier 1 tower into the loving arms of DB, and TB, he'll just burst him down onto Mamang Daya. He'll try onto Arfu, but the Alchemist, he's just going to try and run as UK does kill off KP, and now Moon, looks like he has been left behind, but he does have his step charges and should be just fine to back off. Although on the right side, Mamang Daya, he was still trying to go in onto the troll and Arfu. But eventually he will have to back, and so will the side of SMG. And that was a very prolonged team fight, and I'm really not sure who that favors in the end.
I do feel a lot better here on AG. You're slowing down the farm of mid one. He's forced to join these fights early to apply some more damage. He can't really do much. He needs a Desolator. The minus armor strat's just not panning out. The early Warcry levels on DB, and it's finally paying off. He's living through a couple of these engagements. He's making them slower than they ought to be, and he does have the value points in the Great Cleave now. So this is the moment where he can sit back in the jungle, build up more farm. He's going to outfarm the troll for the most part, and as long as he maintains that pace, AG, they've got an earlier spike. They sort of have the counterplay to deal with the minus armor. The issues for SMG is that when they take these fights, because UK got the value point in the Glaives of Wisdom, they're losing out int. Most of your heroes are strength. They don't have huge mana pools to start off with. If they keep taking these bad fights, you might end up with mana issues down the line.
Oh, absolutely. Already 10 int stolen here for our Silencer. SMG, they're going to get that bottom tier 1 tower though. Stick to the game plan here for SMG. Army Geniuses, they'll start invading the Dire jungle. The creep wave, it is hitting the tier 1. They do have a siege creep there, but it doesn't seem like they fully want to commit quite yet. And eventually Mamang Daya will move his way in and start to get to work. Meanwhile, SMG, I mean, they're going to keep clearing out this Radiant side jungle and eventually move their way into that mid-tier 1. So as AG, you've got a choice. Do you defend the mid-tier 1 tower, or do you keep chasing after that top-tier 1? Mamang Daya, he's trying to get it done, but it's a bit of a slow process. Arfu, Chemical Rage is there. Boat's going to be thrown in here by Wami. He just wants to clear out the creep wave. Looks like that might be enough, but Arfu, with the Chemical Rage, he's going to keep trying to hit that tier 1 tower. Still very, very slow here, and the rotation is going to come in as Arfu does end up dropping, and now they'll go after Moon. Moon, dissimulate out, Astral step away. Rogi, he'll kind of frontline as everyone does back off. And in the end, they are only going to lose Arfu, but here comes mid 1. They'll start the fight now onto Mamang Daya, but he has remnants available. Chains around, that'll lock down 2. Arrow will fly through on mid 1. It does connect, swap out though. KP there to save the day as OIM gets bursted by Moon. And now Rogi, he'll survive through the remnant damage. Mamang Daya unable to get the kill quite yet, so he'll keep trying to check for more. Just chipping away slowly at SMG. And eventually that'll force SMG to just back off, so they realize they don't really want to overextend once again.
AG are playing this really clean. They save their mid-tier 1. They buy a ton of space for DD to play up top. So he's keeping that farm game up. He's ahead still of mid 1 by a decent amount, about 900 gold above. Moon isn't too far behind though. So you're still going to hit these good spikes on the Void Spirit. And overall, you're still going to have something to play with for SMG's part. But the earlier timings on AG are lining up. Just with the Orb of Corrosion, Mamang Daya does hit fairly hard with his phase boots, and they're going to keep it up. They know they are strong right now.
Yeah, nice chains out. Arrow is going to land. Mid 1, just no way to survive that combo as Rogi also going to get caught out. And UK, he'll take both kills and +4 in for himself. He'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, you're going to run into that mana issue fairly soon if you keep giving these kills out. Like, the Undying especially relies on a pretty big mana pool to spam his spells, so you do have to watch your spacing there in SMG. Up top though, Moon.
Well, stun is there, Moon. Playing on the edge, wants to jump back in, but Wami is around with the X-Back, so Moon, he may have gone a bit too far as the boat and Torrent are both going to land, but does he have the damage? He's going to try and step to the right or rather left, Moon. He will eventually go down. And in the meantime, UK got another kill. This time onto Arfu.
Yeah, it's just great punishment. SMG, they need to kind of slow the pace down. Need to get the farm up on mid 1. Still looking for that Desolator. They are clearing out a couple of Ancient stacks, using the Tombstone to help tank through. And that should give the gold needed to at least finish one item. But just this Deso at this point for the troll doesn't feel enough. You might need a BKB fast. Swap.
No amount to much. KB dropping quite fast to that curse. So much damage from this +5 silencer, and he's even got the Veil of Discord up, so just even more damage amp. His army geniuses now into the mid-tier 1 tower. I mean, nice and easy for them. There's not really much stopping them from taking this. SMG, I think they realize they've just got to try and take a backseat and secure some more farm up right now. They're just not able to fight back with this draft, especially without farm. Mid 1, at the very least, I think just needs his BKB up before he can really get involved any longer.
Yeah, they gotta play patiently now on SMG's part. They have to have faith that the item spikes they're gonna get down the line with a free Ags and with a Troll will line up for themselves. There is a smoke play from AG. They're not being patient. They need to play quick.
Mid 1, being a spot of danger. Rogi going to be swapped in here to save KP's life, and he will drop. But they still found the Troll mid 1. He has the Battle Trance and actually has a Desolator up, but the arrow is going to land in time. Do they have the burst damage to get him before the Battle Trance? You bet your ass they do. They get the Troll once again. I mean, Deso is nice and all, but if you can't stand there and hit people, it does nothing.
Yeah, it's It's difficult without any protection. That's why the BKB needs to fly out ASAP here for a troll. And AG, it's just the same story every time. They play as 4, DB plays up top, keeps farming up. DB's gonna hit this timing with Heaven's Halberd. Even if you manage to somehow put your troll in a good position, the disarm is just gonna take this big window away where he's super strong with his battle trance. So you've still got the counterplay coming through from AG to take away this big damage dealer, big physical damage dealer on the side of SMG that they sort of drafted this entire lineup for. Like, that's the reason why the Alchemist Venge is coming through, because they've got a big +1 that can use the minus armor. If you can't attack, then the entire draft kind of falls flat.
That it does. SMG smoked up. DB, that'd be a great target, but can they actually burst him down? He's quite tanky, and the Global Silence is there to back him up. They will get rid of the Observer Ward. They do force a rotation out from Wami, but that's going to be about it. In fact, AG want to try and force a fight now. This Invis Rune, Wami, or rather not Invis Rune, but the Moonlight Shadow, he's going to try and rush forward and find a target. Meanwhile, mid lane, they've got Rogi. The Undying going to drop. And top lane, they've stuck around. SMG. So they know Wami's around there. Fu going to get the stun off onto UK. However, they are just going right through KB. With that God Strength damage, DB eventually going to be able to get the job done as UK is also following up. And it looks like KB's just got nowhere to go now as Wami is going to cut him off from the other end. He's trying to juke out the best he can, but there's no way out. Another kill. The Wave Army geniuses, and now it's a 19-7 lead. 3k net worth advantage. And this is starting to become very concerning here for SMG.
They just didn't win out the lanes they wanted to. When the heroes they picked up, the Venge outplane counteracted by Silencer going for the Q over the W early on, which is what you'd really expect now. UK doing a fantastic job in holding them back here. They're still going for more though.
Moon, it does connect. Remnant forward, chains are there. Mamang Daya able to secure the kill. They do get the stuns off on the Ember. Arfu's going to rotate and here comes mid one. They're going to try and force another team fight, but here comes DB as well. They'll get Mamang Daya first. Arfu is dropping, but it's a slow process as now mid one. He might be able to get to work. As AG realize they can't really force this fight. Not without spells up. Without God Strength, it's just very hard to expect them to have the damage. Mid one still being kited around. He's still going to keep up this chase. And in the end, they are going to be able to even out the team fight 2-2. So, not really too bad for SMG.
Yeah, they trade their mid and support for mid and support. Both sides kind of feeling fine about that. It is better for SMG as they are behind. So they get the bigger gold swing, the bigger EXP swing, which is very important for them catching up. And they start to narrow the gap between mid one and DB. It's still about 900 gold, give or take. So you are still feeling better on the Sven, but it's not as far ahead as you'd expect. Like, you'd expect Sven with a great cleave to have more camps, more farm overall. There hasn't been time to build that up on AG side. So it's kind of evening out. And I think as long as it's fairly even, SMG again, they're going to hit some spikes soon. Ag's going to be coming out from Afu relatively soon. The Venge Ags is a bit stalled out because KP was forced to go for a Midas instead to get steady farm. But once you have that Venge Ags as well, the game can start swinging around, and the BKB for mid one is flying in. So there are big spikes here for SMG. That does open up the possibility for the Roshan. We will have to get the D-wards off first, which should make it obvious that they were trying. That should give AG a window to maybe force something out here.
Mid lane, Wami, LYM going to move in. They've got mid one. Lauren is there. Arrow to follow up. He does get the BKB off, and this time he'll chase Mamang Daya. Remnants are there, though. Mamang Daya is going to be just fine. In fact, DB now, he's going to show up. They want to counter-initiate once again. Mid one. His BKB's gone now, so he doesn't have that defensive tool, and Stormhammer is there. They try to swap him out. Mid one. He'll pop the battle trance, but he's been disarmed. He's been arrowed to the back, and he is probably going to fall. He does get one for his life, but it's not really worth his life as... well, it's only really DB going down. UK, he will actually drop as well to Moon. Wami. He's going to be just fine to back as Mamang Daya Moves back in, but he's quite low in HP. Moon might be able to chase him down as they land the stun there. Mamangtaya, he has no remnants available. Moon, he'll step forward and eventually they might get the Ember and do, but Moon, he might lose his life for this. Dissimulate is there. It just won't matter. Fu, unstable concoction. Are you going to throw it on Sir Wami? He'll have to be the target. He was the only one in range, but LYM does clean up Rogi. It's onto the unstable Alchemist now as Fu does throw the stun out. Won't really matter though, it is just to disengage. And a mid-team fight does break out, but eventually does end up favoring Army Geniuses.
Yeah, and they're just managing to execute really well. It goes back to this halberd build coming out from DB. The disarm just removes so much from that battle trance. You're not able to really maximize the damage output from that state on the troll. It makes it very difficult for Mid-1 to find that opportunity to use his items. Like, he needs to find a perfect opportunity for the BKB use and the battle trance use. And there's just so much control from AG that it's hard to know when you should be going for that. SMG, they're lagging behind by 3k. It's a gap that does amount to something for the side of AG. It's just not big enough to really overwhelm the side of SMG yet. There's still ways to farm up for SMG. The Basher is going to be coming out for Mid-1. That's going to help a little bit more. Doesn't fix the issues with disarm. So it's all down to playing together as a team and using your spells first. I think they've got to get the jump first. If you kill the Silencer before GS, that's great.
Yeah, nice 8th Remnant there. Immediately catching out LYM. He's still going to try and leap away, but they've got the damage. Global Silencer's there. Buybacks are flying out, and a very nice boat from Wami. Does land on 2 targets. Tidal, or rather Torrent Storm is also going. Still Mid-1. He can come in from the back lines. On 2 DB on the Sven, and they've got him. They've got the Sven down as Mid-1 will just keep going for more. It's going to be onto UK. They'll get the Silencer down. They've also left the Kunkka behind. Zwami eventually should fall. Nice torrent. But it won't be enough. Moon will walk out just fine. And now even KP finding another target in Mamangtaya, but he's going to remnant out of there. SMG, they get 3 for nothing. That's a really great team fight for him. It's like everything just kind of going their way now.
Yeah, that's what they need to do. SMG just needs to get the jump first, force the GS in an unideal situation for Army Geniuses where they're not in the offensive, and just kind of clean up from there, although...
Nope, KP ends up dying in the end. Looks like LYM does manage to snipe him out. But if he was quite low in HP, so it's to be expected that LYM does eventually find the arrow. Interesting to note LYM's going for the Ags up. Just maybe feeling like he needs to clear a few waves to the team. I guess the Starfall's quite nice with the arrow, and you can also kind of buff it up with the Veil of Discord that is already there on UK, so there is some synergy going on. What do you think about it, John? Ags worth on Mirana?
I think it is. We've seen a bunch of pawns for Miranas go for that build-up anyway. They can't really do anything else if there's no need for the full Spirit Vessel. And yeah, it does make sense. You could have maybe opted for, say, auras, say a mech to Guardian Greaves, but very rarely you see that on the bench being prioritized. So this does make enough sense. You can kind of scale as well if you start getting some farm up. You can itemize for maybe down the line. The Wind Waker upgrade sounds super good in any match. If it does go that late, it does take some slow build-up. Issue is this game goes late, SMG gets more and more on hand. Right, like the troll gets bigger and bigger. Swift Blink being queued up for Mid-1. You have to remember that the minus armor is there with the Deslo plus the Alk plus the Venge, and the Ag Shard is eventually here for Offlu. He does have it up. He prioritized this Shard this time over the Blink. So you've got the Berserk Potion for your troll. You've got all the minus armor in the world. Even with the disarms, Mid-1's still going to be pretty scary to fight into.
Mamangtaya. Nice remnant away. Perfect timing. SMG. I mean, they can still go after this bottom tier 2 tower, no problems here. Arfu. Give him the Berserk Potion, Arfu. Come on now. He hasn't thrown it out yet, John. I'm getting very upset.
You gotta wait for the right time. They are gonna use Mid-1 as bait, Moonlight though.
Yeah, right in. Smoke is there. Tombstone dropped. LYM being targeted, but they do disengage. SMG looking for another way back into this team fight. to the end. They still got the bottom tier 2 tower, and they're just going to take the outpost. Arrow's going to land, though. KP does get stunned up and does get bursted down. Mamang Daya the one to take the kill, but now the jump is there. Onto DB. Boat is going to be there to try and protect, but mid one is right to work with the battle trance and might eventually be able to get the kill, but no. DB is a bit too tanky. They are still chasing down Moon. He is trying, but he can't land the Aether Remnant. It won't matter, though. He's not going to die. It's back in on the Kunkka. Wami is kind of almost forgotten about there for a second as they try to even get LYM. Moon, he'll just jump right in with the Aether Remnant and does secure the kill. Because now Mamang Daya may have gone too far forward. He has 2 remnants available and will just remnant it out as DB now going to re-engage in this fight. A nice swap out from KP, but DB, he's not done yet. Still gonna move in again. Mid one, no trance up. A big jump in from Moon with the silence, but DB, he's going to try and back, and now the arrow there from LYM to turn it back around onto Moon now. Moon, he's out of options for an exit. He is going to drop an ultra kill out for DB and SMG. They get a little bit too greedy in the end, and it does cost them heavily. In fact, it's not even over yet. The bills just keep coming for SMG. The arrow doesn't actually connect. It may not matter, though, because UK will have the curse up any second. But KP, he's a very sneaky boy, John. He actually gets away with this little juke spot. They don't check.
It's nice play coming out from KP. Overall, though, SMG, as you said, they dive a bit too far. Their BKBs, once it's faded, they need to watch that timing, because the Sven comes back in. He still has really good damage. The armor stacking up on DB is a bit of an issue. He's got the Assault Cuirass up, so along with Warcry, you're talking about maybe about 65 to 70% physical damage resistance, and your minus armor can only put so much of a dent on that. So super tanky up front. Not the target to jump first. I think they have to handle either Mamang Daya or UK first. Like, these heroes have got to go. Maybe even Wami's Kunkka. It's a bit too annoying with the Ags up. So you have to prioritize these other targets first, clean them up. If they can kind of focus down that way fast, SMG gets more to play with, although.
We'll swap in Wami. He got the boat out. It may cost him his life, and it looks like it will. Arrow, though. No, it's going to be juked out mid one. He doesn't finish the kill, though. The arrow actually bought him enough time to get himself out of that Kunkka. So now Wami, he remains alive, but SMG, they're going to try and force a team fight without the boat available. Go right after that Roshan. Tombstone's down to make sure they can't just jump in freely. Wami, Torrent is going to be there, doesn't connect mid one. He does pick up the Aegis. Mamang Daya is still in. It will eventually leave as mid one. He's been X'd up. Arrow's going to land, and he loses the Aegis immediately. Doesn't end up popping the BKB. And so you got the Roshan, but you have no Aegis now, and Army Geniuses looking to re-engage. KP, he'll cop another arrow, and man, that starfall damage actually is quite a lot. Swami wants another. X up in a couple. Moon doesn't find a target with the Aether Remnant. DB trying to sneak his way in with the spider legs, but they make the jump in onto UK. They've got the silencer down already. Mamang Daya will just chain himself out. LYM leaping back. DB looking to move back in. Boat is back up, and mid one. Oh, that's his secondary life gone now. No buyback available in the Troll. In fact, now they even found Arfu. He stuns himself in the Alchemist. And that'll be a 4-for-1, really. They only got UK. Great team fight for Army Geniuses, but not so much for SMG.
It's the impact of the silencer. They're forced to jump UK first, but as long as he has buyback and uses that in the re-engage, BKB cooldowns are too long. They need to play around that spell immunity, and SMG needs to kind of weigh when to pull back, because once the spells start landing, the damage output of Piranha is huge, the control from the Kunkka, the control from all the heroes is just way too much. They're going to lose their mid-racks from this. Looks like AG's not willing to go for tier 4, and they don't have any other racks to go for, as the tier 2 up top still holds and the tier 1 bot still stands. So only one racks, not the most painful loss for SMG. The lead does bounce back towards AG side. 6k back their way. They are still growing in terms of items as well. Like, the Sven could still look to kind of toss away this Echo Saber if you wanted to, go for a disassembly play into other valuable items. I'm not sure what you'd really want. Perhaps you could opt for freeing the slot up for a Overwhelming Blink or a Swift Blink here on the Sven. Just have more mobility that way so you're not kited around still.
Oh, Aether Remnant. It's not on the mark. Moon, he'll be forced to back. Meanwhile, on the right side, Mamang Dai is having a look around. However, he's underneath the sentry ward right now, but he does have the Ags up with the BKB. So he can definitely get himself out, no issues. Looks like SMG, their only real concern there was taking that outpost back, and they'll get it. Army Geniuses, it's their game to throw now. They've got a 7k advantage with that mid-racks. So they've got to play cautious. They've got to wait for the right opportunity. SMG obviously going to be looking for a way back into this game. I suppose once mid one has that Satanic up, it'll be about the right time for them to maybe go for another smoke out and try to make something happen.
The Satanic giving him another Dispel to kind of deal with the silences is going to be really helpful. I think maybe the secondary Ags from Afu can also help the cause. I'm not sure who he's going to gift it to. It looks like he will just give mid one an Ags as well. So you're going to have a super powered troll, at least in terms of items, because of having an Alk. Just need to see if Afu will prioritize that. He hasn't picked up his Blink, so it is a bit trickier to still play with that unstable concoction initiation. AG, they have smoked up. They might be able to find a nice kill here.
Army Geniuses gonna move in. They'll break the smoke on DB, but that won't matter too much as Roger is gonna reveal himself. They'll make the jump in on the Undying, but no KP. He took over, and they just jump right in. Roger, he's back anyway. They X'd him up. So they got a 2-for-1 special, and now mid one. He's in the middle of that Torrent Storm. He'll get the Battle Trance BKB off DB, taking a fair bit of damage, but he has the Spider Legs. He can juke and jive. Mid one, he'll keep trying with the Battle Trance, but eventually the arrow will come in. UK? Oh, he might not even die here. Moon, he does get him. BKB up, he'll try to TP away in time, and looks like he will make it. But AG, just another great team fight for him. SMG still struggling to find their footing here in this game too.
It's boiling down to the fact that their Venge still doesn't have Ags, and they don't have good lifesteal on their Troll. Like, you need to have mid one stand in front, really heal up fully with the use of Battle Trance. His lifesteal there just doesn't feel like enough. He needs to pad it more with a Satanic, and until that's up, it falls flat. KP can't afford to throw his body out right now, as, again, without Ags, you don't have that secondary life with Illusion. He is about 500 gold short, so it shouldn't be too far off, and once you hit those spikes on the Troll and on the Venge, you maybe have more windows of opportunity to play these fights, but AG has been playing a lot tighter. They've just been executing really well. The global silence, the threat of it has just been too much for the side of SMG. Like, they have the BKBs to play with, but we have seen them forced to pop the BKBs before GS, just because they know that even without global silence, the control from AG is still a lot stronger with the X, with the Arrow, with the Torrent Storm especially, being a massive nuisance in these fights. And it's just not giving as many options for SMG. So,
Chains out.
See how they repair.
Roger will be fine. Looks like he had the Lotus Orb up. It's still only a 7k net worth lead. Like, it's not like anyone's really out of the game yet. SMG, plenty of chances to try and make a big comeback here for sure. It's probably his Army Geniuses now with this Sven and just looking so much stronger. Ags up on R2. Who's this going to?
Could be mid one, because you already have it on KP. I don't think you're going to get too much value from the Undying Axe. So that's the only sensible one left. And there you go, freebie. Dispel on the Whirling Axis. And that should help even more in terms of kind of going around the control and kind of getting this troll up front. We'll see if it does turn the tide here for the side of SMG. Satanic, about 400 gold away. Although...
Oh, nice jump in. Global Silence Chains are both there. Rogi immediately arrowed up, and they've even found KP. It looks like he's going to try and run, but they'll get our food down, and there goes your Venge. Wow, they just melt. Not even close.
Yeah, they tried to go for the D ward. They kind of just fall apart from there. And now the high ground's open. And they still only have one Rax to push here on AG side. Bot Rax protected. They could try to force the game if they wanted to. Respawns aren't too long at this point in the game, so SMG might still be able to get a good defense off, but the damage output right now and the control from AG is still a bit too much. They did pop GS, so the follow-up fight could be a bit tricky, and they will play it safe, just settling with a tier 3 for now.
Say that, Moon. Jump in, Mamangzaya. No, arrow, torrent, all of it's hitting. Mid one. Oh, they just landed everything. They just perma-stun him. Moon. He's gonna run. Rochi, he's gonna be left behind. Swap out from KP, but they land right into the torrent again. AG, they are just tearing them a new one this game. There's a 12k net worth lead now on 2 lanes of barracks. You could force tier 4 towers if you really want. AG though, they have some outer towers to take down at that bot lane. Also, they don't really want to risk trying to fight too much more, but I say that. Moon is a bit far forward. DB. Stormhammer's gonna land, but without the God Strength up, they won't have the damage.
They can just kind of look to maybe wait for next Roshan. 2 minutes away here for the side of AG. It is going to be Roshan number 2, so Aegis plus Shard. Going to be nice, especially on... I suppose at this point you could just hand it to the Sven. Kunkka Shard is still great for the tidal wave though, so perhaps just go for more of the kiting and the utility here on the side of AG. SMG, their backs are against the wall. You need to be really cautious stepping outside of space now.
And Moon's been stunned up immediately. The arrow's there again. He can't afford to die, but he does. He has buyback though, so he might be able to initiate the team fight. KP is going to get jumped on here by Mamangdaya. They'll get a bash off. Mid one. Who are you aiming? He'll try to go after DB, but DB's busy with Rogi right now. He'll burst him down. Disarms are out there on mid one. He'll still keep trying onto this Sven, but DB has the BKB up. BKB will be there for mid one this time around to avoid the arrow. He'll go on to Wami instead, but the Torrent Storm is flying in and he has been caught out on the Troll Warlord. DB will get to work. Mid one, he'll turn around. He'll try to man fight this one. Moon, meanwhile, he got the Sven down, but mid one is still in massive, massive trouble. As the torrent comes in, he will try to life steal, but it won't be enough. Mamangdaya cleans up, and they'll call the GG.
Oh man, that was spectacular from AG. Like, they had this good counterplay coming through from the aggressive offlane of SMG. They knew that the Venge and Alk were coming through. They take the Sven, and they went for Warcry prioritized. Like, sure, it kind of slowed down the farm of a DB early on. It didn't matter because down the line they just had so much room made for DB from all these fights they forced us for. AG managed to spread their resources around really well. SMG, they had mid one join these fights early, just like they kind of did with his Monkey King. Issue is Troll doesn't have the same early spikes as a Monkey King does. Even with a decently timed Desolator, it does take more for Troll to fight into that Global Silence, into the Torrents, into all the control that AG had. And this time around, AG's just got the answers to that lineup. It looks like they figure out what to do against that Venge Alchemist.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I was so confused for a second. I know you can see why. So both teams, I mean, I guess I could say it's a bit of a funny thing happening here. Both teams seem to have forgotten it's a best of 2, and both of them showed up to the lobby expecting the third game, and now they realize, whoops, just the best of 2. The series is over. It is indeed a draw. I was so confused for a second, John. I'm like, don't tell me I've been ringing this whole time. And we're doing best of 3s the whole day.
Oh my god!
Yeah, imagine that 12 games. Yeah. Still, we have OB Neon coming up now against Execration. So the new OB Neon stack is going to be up against Execration. Execration have been looking very strong as of late. OB Neon though, John, apparently you've been telling me this new stack does seem very powerful in and of its own right. So, looking very forward to seeing how this one pans out. We are going to head to a short break, and right after that break, we're going to be back with Series 2 between OB Neon and Execration.